Greetings and welcome to episode 267 of the Words About Games podcast, a weekly video game podcast for words about games. I'm your host, Amy K. Alexander. I'm joined this week by Daffy Moody. How you doing?
I am doing very well. How is everyone else? It is Friday. You know what that means, ladies and gentlemen.
And Foxes.
Hi.
Hi.
How's it going?
It's not bad. Better than last week.
Been playing some games. It's been actually okay.
I haven't. I literally haven't played a video game since Saturday.
I started one. I haven't finished it yet.
On purpose. On purpose. It wasn't because I haven't got any time or whatever. I've just been taking a break, doing other things. Watching Doctor Who.
Wait, you're saying you want to have a life other than video games?
It's crazy, right?
Are we allowed that?
Yeah. Obviously.
Why no one tell me this?
And here I was checking out a bunch of new stuff so I can be able to talk about everything that had ever come out in the past, week since we talked.
I know, right?
Man, I wasted my time.
Oh yeah, big style. And someone used to try and make me do that. It wasn't pleasant.
Well, I would say I'm going home, but I'm
already home.
So screw you guys. I'm leaving the room.
Are you?
Bye. He will actually leave the room. This is what he does. He commits to his bits. I'll give him that.
You gotta try, because I don't have a new Funko Pop to show off. So
not like
you've got a lot to answer for.
I've got a lot to answer
with your Funko Pops. Yeah, you'll find out.
What did I do?
You'll find out this weekend.
This weekend.
Yeah, fucking you and your bloody never-ending stream of Funko Pop pictures. How are you, Foxes?
I've been good. I beat Village.
Yay! I beat
Finally got around to
nothing.
Fair enough. Oh god damn it.
Does 2 seasons of Doctor Who count
So
as can I say I've beaten them if I've watched them all the way through?
yeah, I can't help but not look at it because I know that's got to be a brand new one. That has to be a brand new one.
I'm not
It's the only
acknowledging
thing I
it.
can think of. Yeah. Anyways, to be honest with you, I need to catch up with Doctor Who. How's it been?
Well, it's good. I've enjoyed it. I haven't watched the newest season, so I sat down. You have to make an account on iPlayer now, so I sat down, I made the account, did the thing, signed it, and I was like, cool, Doctor Who. I'll watch the new season of Doctor Who. Because they just announced the next season. And then I was like, it came up, and it was the first episode that was on there was the one that popped up, and I was like, I could just watch all of it. So I want season 2.
Is it still got that fun quality about it that it makes you want to keep watching?
Keep watching
each
it.
episode?
Yeah, it does.
Good.
It does.
Good.
Christopher Eccleston,
That's what I really
highly
care about
underrated.
Really?
Watching him through the second time, I was like, oh, I'm appreciating this much more than I did the first time.
Oh, you mean from the yeah. I actually do like him. I think he's actually pretty good.
He's got some banger episodes.
He's a very serious and aggressive doctor, but it also in the same sense I also get it, because he's considered the wartime doctor, right? No,
he was the one after the wartime doctor. So he was PTSD doctor, right?
Yeah.
He was dealing with all of that. There's that one episode where he just starts screaming at a Dalek. Why don't you just die? And then the Dalek's like, you would make a good Dalek. And that's such a good episode.
And then he tortures him. Yeah, actually, yeah. I remember that. Yeah,
he actually tries to kill him.
That's a really strong emotional episode. I remember that one. Yeah.
Oh, hi, Moody. Didn't see you there.
What? No, there was someone here. It's
didn't know
Shepard's best friend. So
honestly, didn't know it.
But he had to leave.
How are you?
It's almost like I didn't even notice.
I know. It's amazing.
But other than me beating Village, what have you started, Moody? Or are you not allowed to talk about it yet?
No longer home.
What's that about? I don't think I've heard of that one actually.
You'll find out next week on the Fashion Relate Reviews, Foxes.
Disclaimer: we were given a review code to review the game. Sorry.
Wait, what?
Came from? Huh?
Oh, Smeg, yeah, you did, didn't you? I forgot about that. I apologize for that. We got a review code for it. I apologize.
Nice, very nice.
The game's out, right?
Yes.
We can talk about it. Yeah, that's a good one.
Not like
just had to make sure there.
Not like the poll I ran. So like the game that I was gonna stream this week.
Oh, okay. I remember you
got delayed.
Yeah.
And I was like, shit. I'm good because I'm gonna play it not long at home, but it's only a few hours, right? I'm gonna have more time than that. So what else do I play? Because I want to play something else. Because I finished the Forgotten City, finished Death Star. Did a Twitter poll.
Finished Death Star already.
It was like 10 hours.
Okay.
Yeah, so I did a Twitter poll. A game won. Woke up this morning, opened up OpenCritic, because I was like, I wonder, like... I always open up OpenCritic every morning, because I just like to see what's going on, right? 2 games from out of fucking nowhere. Massively high reviews. I'm like, well, shit. Maybe I need to reconsider the structure of my my game playing this week.
Well, if I may ask, what were they?
So one was Dodgeball Academia, which I've heard of both of those games. When I say they're out of nowhere, I just mean I wasn't thinking about playing them.
Mm-hmm.
And then I found out
that game's got high results.
That game's in Game Pass. So I was like double sort of like, ooh, interesting. And the other one was Dreamscaper, which came out a week early. It was supposed to come out next week, and they came out this week instead. That game is not in Game Pass, but on OpenCritic, it's currently got a higher OpenCritic than any other game that's come out in 2021. So I'm looking at both these games, and I'm like, no one will remember the Twitter poll. If I just pretend it didn't happen.
So it's a top. Well, I guess it's not considered top down, but I guess isometric in some perspective.
Yeah, it's like an RPG. It was in one of the things this summer.
What, like ARPG with some puzzle solving?
Which one are we talking about here?
Dreamscaper.
It's like a roguelike. From
it's
what
caught
I
my
read,
attention. This looks interesting.
It wasn't on my mind because on the Google calendar it says it's coming out next week. Because they were like, they went, surprise, we're bringing it out a week early. And I was like, that's not how this works.
I'm changing the force. That's not how it works.
I knew if I set you up, maybe you'd knock it down. Let's get into talking about non-video games. Video game industries and whatnot. Actually, there's some video game stuff in here too. I haven't changed I just want to point out that I haven't changed the blurb for the last 3 weeks. It literally still says, in this week's episode, we discuss another week of hell in the games industry. You
just said hell the first time I put in the games industry last week.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, hold on. Right.
Don't change it. It sounds better.
When did we start talking about Lucifer? Interesting. Okay, I just got through season 1. Nice. We can actually, Sorry, never mind.
I like it.
That was smooth as fuck. That was smooth as butter.
Smooth as fuck.
Yeah.
I don't call them smooth foxes for no reason.
Oh, he is smooth. He is very smooth.
It's the Mad Max of my podcast, so
there's timestamps in the description below the video on YouTube, also wherever you get your audio podcasts, whether that be on Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and some other places. I've literally stopped checking like the Anchor thing. I literally go on, upload an episode, and then I don't log on for a week. Like, I have stopped checking analytics, I've stopped checking everything. I just go, podcast, there you go, and it's done. And I don't think about it again. Maybe it's all broken, I just don't know. Because I haven't bothered checking. That was my cool stuff.
Are you kidding me? Anything that I ever have my hands on, if it's like some type of big project, I'm like, this is broken still, like, because I'm a part of it, right? You guys don't realize that I'm the broken piece. Okay.
Oh, I'm like an hour's worth of editing away from finishing my Dark Souls 3 video as well.
Nice, very nice.
I need to record some ADR, and then I just need to put that in. I've got a very specific conclusion that I think is going to play really well with like you two and people like with your mindset, but really badly with Dark Souls fans in general.
Oh god, he was going to piss people off again.
But you'll watch it, you'll go, and you'll be laughing. I'll bet. I'll get.
I guarantee I'll always laugh.
I'll get texts off you being like, "That was hilarious."
To be fair though, if you at least feature that last song, catch my drift. You're gonna have me like, just drooling, to be honest with you.
I can't. Fun fact, when I uploaded the boss fight to YouTube unlisted and sent the link to you guys, it got copyright claimed.
For that? Really?
Oh, some bloody did.
Yes. So
wow. I'm actually surprised that it would go that
far.
So the bot would be like, fuck it. Even video game music.
Like Dark Souls, the boss fight music with the literal, like the swords and the squishy noises and all the banging and crashing and no me swearing because I didn't have a microphone on, but like and all the noise and stuff, that gets copyright claimed. My Bloodborne video, however many years later, where it's like it literally ends and the Hunter's Dream music is playing for like 45 seconds uninterrupted at the end of the video. Nothing. Nothing.
The bot knows where the loyalty lies, and so therefore if it's Bloodborne, I'm not touching it. Nope. I dare not touch it because I will incur the wrath of everyone that will
everybody who's a fan of Bloodborne is really angry all the time.
Yeah, like all the technical aspects of just trying to make me crash. But Dark Souls 3 I can fuck with all day.
All right, let's get this. Should we get this show on the road? Should I start the car? Are we going? We're going to the beach, yeah. That's where we're going.
Let's get this antique on the road show.
Let's get this antique on the road. Damn, Fox is on fire tonight.
He really is. He really is. Must be the hair. Looks like he styled it.
No, not really. It's still just out there, out there in the wind.
I gave you a compliment, man. Just take it. Let's shoot down a compliment.
Let's dive in. Activision Blizzard employees say HR department failed them. This is from Megan Farukmanesh over at Axios, who writes, following a lawsuit filed by California against Activision Blizzard, allegations of harassment, misconduct, and assault continue to emerge from people who point to the company's HR department as being part of the larger problem. Sources say the company's culture favors a clan mentality and functioned under a broken HR department that undermined, discounted victims' experiences and did not protect their identities. According to a dozen current and former Activision Blizzard employees, several requesting anonymity to speak freely, harassment and misconduct were well known and well documented, despite the company saying the allegations are, quote, incorrect, old, and out of context, end quote. Not only did Activision Blizzard fail to protect those in harm's way, it actively shielded abusers from punitive action, sources tell Axios. People have been cautioned against filing a report or attempting to take action against harassers or bad actors, one current employee says, quote, they say things like, this isn't a fight you want to fight, end quote. In a comment to Axios, an Activision Blizzard spokesperson said the company takes every allegation seriously and will investigate all claims. That was a quote. So is this one. We will not tolerate anyone found to have impeded the integrity of our processes for evaluating claims and imposing appropriate consequences. If employees have any concerns about how human resources handle claims, we have other reporting options, including anonymous ones, end quote. 4 current and former employees of Activision Blizzard described to Axios direct interactions with HR during the past decade, in which they said representatives bullied, belittled, or showed skepticism after being informed of alleged harassment or assault. Employees who have gone to HR with complaints say the department had a reputation for doing nothing. A former employee whose harassment came directly from their boss tells Axios they felt they had no tools to resolve their problem. Quote, even if Blizzard wants to take it seriously, I'm not even sure what they would do, end quote. Excuse me. In one case, Nikki Broderick, a former Blizzard employee employed from 2012 to 2019, approached HR several times with complaints about inappropriate or retaliatory behavior. In one instance, Broderick and a manager got into a heated argument during which, quote, he stood over me at my desk and wouldn't let me leave, wouldn't let me reach for my phone, end quote. Broderick says when she reported the incident to HR, she was told, quote, it's not harassment, he didn't touch you, end quote. In a comment to Axios, the company spokesperson said, quote, such conduct is abhorrent and will not be tolerated. We appreciate the courage of any current or former employee in coming forward and will fully investigate any such claims brought to our attention, end quote. He was untouchable, Broderick says of the manager. He was later promoted and remains employed at Activision Blizzard in a senior position. She describes her career growth as stunted after going to HR, noting, quote, I wasn't given any new projects, I wasn't considered for promotion 3 years after that incident, end quote. Broderick recalls another instance where an HR rep told her she was acting like a brat, she tells Axios, adding she was told to suck it up and return to her desk. Another current employee with the company for over 5 years tells Axios that after she was physically assaulted by one employee, her report to HR was met with instant skepticism. Quote, one of the things the HR rep commented on was that she was surprised I wasn't crying or I wasn't more hysterical, end quote. Furthermore, the source says there were no measures put in place to protect her at work. Instead, Blizzard encouraged her to work from home or switch departments, a move she says felt more like punishment. When she spoke to HR again, however, a representative told her, quote, he's really sorry and he really wants to work at Blizzard, and he says that you were really friendly with him, end quote. Sources tell Axios part of the problem with Activision Blizzard's HR department was a seemingly high turnover rate. On some teams, representatives could be gone in as little as a few months, and some representatives seem spread too thin, sources say. For employees, it was unclear why their representatives changed so often, whether it was due to transfers, new jobs, firings, or burnout. This made reporting in some cases difficult, as new representatives would come in without the overall context of the company's culture. Quote, we never had someone consistent to talk to, Broderick says, end quote. The process was also confusing and lacked transparency around next steps or actionable resolutions, according to some current and former employees who voiced concerns over the broader management style there. Former Blizzard employee Andrew Buzatsky? Help me out here.
I think you're pretty
Yeah.
Sorry if I pronounced his name wrong there. Says going to management with complaints had, quote, a surprising lack of paper trail or any transparency at all. You're just sort of saying these things out into the void, end quote. That put the onus on employees to keep their own paper trail. If not, he says, quote, it just sort of turns into this verbal agreement, and then that can just be a piece of leverage or plausible deniability from Blizzard administration and management, end quote. Even filing a report was a double-edged sword, one former employee tells Axios, because they were going to tell everybody about what you said. Nothing you said was private with HR. The big picture, Activision Blizzard's HR department and its handling of harassment incidents is reflective of a larger company culture with a pervasive drinking culture, an all-boys club mentality, and a lack of consequences for alleged harassers, sources say. For some employees, they said harassment is hidden under a familiar cover. It's just a joke. A former employee says that there is a culture for men on staff where, quote, guys being shitheads to other guys is normal. You're just supposed to take it and can dish it back as well, end quote. Previous reports describe Blizzard as being built on a foundation of largely male white employees, where it was a point of pride to have, quote, a work environment that was thankfully more like a frat house than a business, end quote. Because of Blizzard's success, there is a pervasive sense for employees that it's a privilege to work there, sources tell Axios. Quote, I felt like in order for me to survive in this situation, because I wanted to work there long term, I had to go along with it, end quote. One former Activision Blizzard employee tells Axios of inappropriate behavior they experienced. As one Activision Blizzard employee tells Axios, the time for apologies has passed. Instead, they say steps must be taken to unveil, remove, and reject abusers from the industry entirely to prevent them from resuming destructive behavior elsewhere. Quote, it doesn't matter how creative and intelligent and brilliant someone is. Stand by your morals, stand by the company values, and get them out because it's not worth it, end quote.
Same thing what we hear all the time. It is. HR failed the staff. It always does. It's the same thing in Ubisoft. Same thing at Riot Games. HR does nothing. Instead of protecting the people, it protects the company, or tries to, and hides this crap away. It always has, always will, until they literally restructure HR into a proper thing where it can do both things. Protect the company and also protect the people who work at the company properly.
I don't know. I don't know if. I mean, I get it, right? I know HR's job in any company is to protect the company. Like, don't ever go to HR just never seems like a viable route any of these big companies to go to if you've got problems because they're not on your side.
Oh, I agree.
But I don't know if HR's sole function should should be to protect the people who work at the company. Like, it shouldn't have anything to do with protecting the image of the company or protecting the shareholders or protecting the share price, which is what we see here. Like, they're protecting the image. They're basically just PR, doing a different type of PR job. Like, whereas that shouldn't be the case, but it is.
Yeah, I agree. It's a lot of bollocks. The whole thing. Like,
to bring up a note that's very much a part of this is that the fact that you have a high turnover rate, whether it be firing or restaffing or like burnout, like whatever the fuck, for some of these people to tell you some of the things that they told you sounds like also they didn't take HR very fucking seriously either. Like, they very much didn't give a shit about their. I mean, sure, they gave a shit about the company because they were getting paid for it. They didn't give a shit about the actual morals of what HR could do for other people. It sounds like a lot of them just didn't fucking care. They were like, deal with it. It's like,
well, it comes up in quotes from it comes up from quotes in sources in Megan's story, right? Where it's just like HR would just do everything they could to dismiss or belittle as everything that was being brought to them.
Yeah. Between HR failing them, and also, like, it sounds like the people even themselves for being in HR, like whatever kind of courses or classes or certifications that they deemed necessary, did not definitely teach them the right fucking morals to have whenever it comes to their people. Granted, yes, still they have the whole mentality of company first, but there's still some morals that can be slid in there easily to actually help.
I mean, you just need to actually give a shit, right? But
yeah.
Whether it was from a directive from on high that filtered down, maybe that's why there was a high turnover, because people wanted to do something but couldn't, or whether it was just part of the pervasive culture at Activision Blizzard, where it was just like, it's just jokes, it's just banter, it's just funny, and that was the attitude of HR. Like, we might, I was gonna say we'll never know, we might know, like, one day, but right now, we sure don't know. Sorry, I was trying to see if I could find an Activision Blizzard HR job listing and like see what the requirements were to work there, but apparently there aren't any.
Be a douche.
Apparently, yeah, be terrible.
Be terrible at your job and forget about the people who you have to who are meant to protect, and you don't.
No, and we've obviously we spent the past 2 weeks going through the stories.
2 weeks. Let's just be frank. We've done this for a year.
I'm sorry. I'm just talking about ActiPlays.
We did it with a bit of Riot Games a bit last year as well, and we've done that now.
Rocksteady, Rockstar, the new one. Yeah. It's like it's never ending. It's just one might almost use the word that conservatives hate to hear: systemic. Like, it's a systemic problem throughout the entire games industry. Like, if the last. And this, I do not mean to minimize what's going on and what people have gone through at Activision Blizzard in the slightest by what I'm about to say, but it's not just Activision Blizzard. It's not just Riot. It's not just Rocksteady. It's not just Ubisoft. It's not just any of these companies. It's all of them. And, like, I really hope this time we're like, because we've got a spotlight right now, right? Currently shining on some of this, not all of it, some of it.
Because they ignored the Ubisoft one.
Riot Games was talked about for a minute and then ignored. Ubisoft was talked about for a minute and then largely ignored. Nobody even remembers. You bring up Rocksteady and no one even remembers that was a thing. Like, and now what I'm hoping is that this spotlight can just be sustained, and like if I spend the rest of 2021 with all of the first half of every podcast in 2021 is talking about this stuff and trying to root it out and just trying to like make the games industry a safer place for people who aren't white men, that's fine by me, because that's what I want. Like, and I know obviously like 500 plus subscriber YouTube channel isn't going to affect change in the games industry by itself, but like that's what I want to happen. And I'm doing that thing. I'm visualizing what I want, and I'm going to make it a reality.
Maybe if you visualize that, the games industry would be done. can
Well, this
imagine
is
what's
the point,
going on in
though.
your head.
This is the point, though, right? Like,
I agree with it, though. Let's be frank. I do agree with it.
if hypothetical, like, because we all know this is happening everywhere in the games industry. If that's what has to happen, so be it.
I agree. Like I've said it, I said it a few times last week. That the whole industry needs to be completely readjusted and re-brought back together with all of these managers and people in charge and CEOs and HR people completely out of the industry, and they need to be completely vetted from every single company.
Yeah, like the Alex Afrosabia, whatever his name is, like the picture of the Cosby suite, and it's just like someone tagged that on Twitter with because obviously I wasn't here last week. Someone tagged that on the Twitter with the with like where they all are now, and it's like, okay, a few of them still work at Activision.
Yeah,
there's one at Riot Games, and there's one at another one. There's one at another one. It's like these people, these men. And yes, it's not always just men. It's not all men, but like these men, they come into a company, they destroy people's lives, and then they move on to do it at another company.
Yeah, it's
and then they think they can get away with it, and not anymore. I really hope this is the one.
I know that that there are all too many people. There's quite a large group of people. It's like, well, if you go through with this, then what are we going to have left? We're going to have any companies? We're going to have any? It's like, look, no offense, but if THQ and THQ now Nordic can fucking do it, you best believe that they can do it with anywhere else too. And I realize that THQ isn't like any Activision or any Blizzard, but it's still a company name. It's still licenses. It's still properties, and it's still IPs. It still can be transferred to good people.
Like. You go first.
Or bring the good people back to continue to work on it.
There are a lot of good people in the industry, and like, let's keep them on. But like, if like people say that like it's a bad thing, like, well, if we go after all of these abusers and all of these people who are ruining people's lives, what happens if there's no companies left? Then fucking good, because mission accomplished. We did it. Like, I don't want all of these companies to be destroyed. But like, if that's what it takes to make it so that people can make games and also be safe, then so fucking be it. I don't see a downside.
Right now, this is the strongest it's ever been when it comes to this type of thing. And this is the thing. I think the companies keep forgetting. Companies all keep forgetting. Activision, Ubisoft, Riot Games, and everything like that. Your games only happen because of the teams you have in charge, the developers who create these games. And we all know a lot of your developers striked last week. And that will have hurt you. And it will have. There's no doubt about it. Whatever update you had coming, whatever is happening with your Call of Duty game or whatever, anything it's been pushed back to whatever it has, and these people won't crunch for you anymore until you start doing these things to get these things working and everything, to get these good working practices in this company and everything. And until you do that, this is the time where the developers actually have the power for the first true time. It's kind of like that film A Bug's Life, where the big moths, who are literally the CEOs, the Activisions, the Ubisofts, they literally know that if these ants literally decided to band together, they could literally outnumber us 10 to 1. And we do. The developers outnumber the CEOs and all this 10 to flipping 1. And we know this, and we can literally do something about it. Activision doesn't have to close or anything like that, but it needs to be completely gutted, and it needs to start from the top, with the CEO, because he's been in charge of this frat boy culture. He has to go.
Oh my god, so many like and current fucking Activision Blizzard executives coming out going, I didn't know, I'm sorry. And it's like, shove your apology up your ass. And I'll tell you something else as well. All of the straight white cis men who go onto those apology posts and accept those apologies on behalf of the people who were harmed, fuck you too. Because that's not you don't get to accept those apologies, because those apologies aren't for you.
Mm-hmm. I'd like to add
I cut you off.
No, you're perfectly fine. I'd like to add just a little tiny note. I'm proud, and it's a little small sliver of proud, but thankful, and also, to be honest with you, a little bit of applause for the people who actually decided to say, I don't know if I can keep supporting your game, or I don't know if I can actually keep, playing it and actually giving it any kind of limelight, whether it be Activision Blizzard. So I'm moving over to something else, and I'm gonna hurt your bottom dollar. I'm gonna hurt your wallet by not giving you any more exposure, any more time played, or continue buying anything from it. So fuck you. I'm done. Bye. And there's actually quite a few even big name people, like quote unquote big name people, who play their games, that actually have a lot of followers, that just said, no, fuck this, I'm over it, I'm done.
Yeah.
You not only have you been fucking them, but you also been fucking me too, by also not taking care of not only yourself but also the health of your game too, because Call of Duty is in a really fucking terrible state. But that's a side note. I have to give them a little bit of applause for, like, actually some people being like, no, I'm done with your shit, bye. Because if it hurts their money and it hurts their wallet, whether it'll be a downfall
the
of
only
them,
way they'll do anything. Sorry for putting in there,
No,
yeah.
we'll get into some of that because I got some stuff to say about a certain CEO. I want to shout out as well the people who are sub-locked in World of Warcraft. It's basically the people who have subscriptions and they paid for them for like the year and they've still got time on it, who are going into the game to protest in the game because they've already paid for their time, and telling people who wouldn't know, who are logged into World of Warcraft, what's going on. Shout out them.
Shout out to them.
And shout out to all the people who have been doing great reporting, and shout out to the people who are victims in all of this. Like, I've seen a lot of stories in both in public and have been told to me privately that are just horrible, and it's like my heart goes out to everybody who's been a victim of this, whether it's at Activision Blizzard or anywhere else.
I think you put it right, that it's a spotlight right now, and actually some gamers are actually really giving a shit, and people who actually aren't even gamers are actually really giving a shit and taking attention to it, and actually bringing a lot out of it. Which, to be honest with you, good on all of you, because whether it's us as gamers who actually finally need to learn, like, we have to not support them so that way they can learn and actually be different and change. Because how many people still end up going to pre-order a fucking video game that is still a part of whatever bad company's doing what? It's just like, oh, you're not hurting their wallet still by doing this.
It's
so
like
we have to learn too.
It's like when everybody banded together to get EA to win the worst company in America award 2 years running, but still bought their games. It's like, do they care that you gave them that award? You're still giving them billions of dollars. Why do they care?
The thing is about it when it comes to those content creators at the same time, it's like the thing is that annoys me right now is that all the light is on Activision, and they're all saying we're going to not play Activision games. There's other companies out there you are still saying, and you'll take their codes or you'll take their merchandise if they send it out to you, like the Ubisofts and the Riot Games and etc. And I'm sorry, but I don't care what anyone says. You need to stop. You need to boycott those games as well, because that's the only way they'll talk. That's the only way they'll sort their shit out. The Ubisoft, we talked about last week. Ubisoft people created a petition towards the CEOs and everything at Ubisoft to say, you've done fuck all. You've done absolutely fuck all to help us. You've just concentrated on helping yourself to help your own bottom line, which is the dollar. And it's the same freaking thing, man. Like you hear all the things of, oh, we're going to boycott thing, but you're not going to do it for Ubisoft, though, are you? All right, games. I always say everyone's a fucking hypocrite, but it's literally just showing even more how much people are truly are a hypocrite.
This is the thing, right? I've seen this, and we'll move on after this, unless anyone's got anything they want to actually add, because we got more Activision Blizzard stuff coming anyway. But like, I've seen a sentiment shared between a lot of content creators. The number one sentiment is like the hard line. Look, I'm fucking done with these people. For all of the reasons we've talked about for many hours on this podcast at this point. There's the second one who don't give a shit, and I don't think about them or watch their content, so they can just, what is it? How is it Moody put it? They can virtue signal if they're on us. One of my favorite things I've ever heard while I was watching the podcast last week. It's the in-between space with people who are saying that yes, this is bad, and we will talk about it, but we will also continue to talk about the good things that come out of Activision Blizzard and the games that come out of Activision Blizzard, because we want to support the developers. And there's two things wrong with that. Number one, as long as you're talking about their games and talking about the positive stuff that comes out of the company, Activision Blizzard do not give a fuck if you also talk about the bad stuff, because you're doing the job they want you to do. You're promoting their company. Regardless of if you go, yeah, Activision Blizzard suck because of sexual harassment and abuse, like, but here's why the next Call of Duty is going to be amazing. That doesn't help anybody. And that also doesn't help the developers. So if your stated goal is to support the developers, the way you can support the developers is to agitate for a cultural change at Activision Blizzard, so those developers will be treated better and not be abused and not be harassed. Activision Blizzard has a body count, for God's sake. Someone died because of this abuse and this harassment. And it needs to stop. It needs to end.
Yep.
I'm sick of, and I know this is. I'm going in a completely selfish direction for like 30 seconds, but I am sick of talking about this on this podcast, year in, year out, month in, month out. I am sick of talking about this. I want to change it. I want it to change, and I can't do that if I'm promoting Call of Duty or Overwatch or Diablo. Because then it won't change, because Activision Blizzard will have no reason to change it.
Yeah. And I'll just say one final thing. Don't worry about the developers. They still have to pay them. At the end of the day, they still have to pay them. They cannot say, well, our game didn't sell, so we're not going to pay you. No, you still have to technically pay them because you hired the buggers. The only thing you don't do is give them...
Sorry.
No, that's not. The only thing they don't do is that they don't get from Activision, was we bloody know this doesn't happen. The people who get the big profits for the game is the CEO and his team around him and everything. The developers get barely anything.
And if you're worried about
sales from Call of Duty and everything,
and I want to tack onto that, if you're worried about the job security of the game, the rank and file game developers at Activision Blizzard over a boycott, don't be. If Activision Blizzard posted record profits 2 years ago and fired 10% of their staff, they don't have job security either way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'd like to echo that, like you said, bringing up Ubisoft, that I'd like to echo that kind of sentiment and that kind of like thought process of like just vetting and changing and ripping out that. Sure, I would love for the American branches to obviously change all that, but I also hope that this translates over to the French people as well, who are sick and tired of Ubisoft mistreating them. Because me being an American, obviously I can yell at them all they want, but it's a completely different country, company, standards, rules, everything. That is just like, I hope that I hope this spotlight on Activision Blizzard brings up enough of another spotlight and just an even wider range that it affects them too.
I hope so. Seriously, hope
Me
so.
too. So, Danielle Potts over at Games Industry Base has done something really good. She's awesome. Go follow her on Twitter. Go follow Megan as well. I'll drop their Twitter handles in the description of the videos and the podcast. She's got this page up on gamesindustry.biz, which is literally just like a landing page almost of like, here's everything that's happened, and here's short blurbs of it, and you can it links to like the full stories. So I've shamelessly copy pasted that into my Google document because it's very helpful in this situation. So I got a lot of shorter, almost bullet point type things. Now, how do you guys want to do this? Do you want me to go through everything and then we'll say whatever we want to say at the end of it, or do you want me to just sort of go through each point and
go for each punch and we give small little snippets from each of us?
All right, so I think there's like six things on here. The first, and I just pulled them in the order that they were in the Games Industry Biz article. I haven't changed the order or anything like that. So the first, and I deleted a lot because of the stuff we already talked about. So the first one is Bungie speaks out against toxic studio cultures following Activision lawsuit. And this reads, Destiny maker Bungie made a statement regarding the lawsuit as well as its own internal efforts to counteract harassment. The studio, formerly a partner of Activision, admitted that some employees have reported experiences of harassment, but the firm says it does what it can, quote, to push back on a persistent culture of harassment, abuse, and inequality that exists in our industry. It's our responsibility to ensure this type of behaviour is not tolerated at Bungie at any level, and that we never excuse it or sweep it under the rug. While the accounts in this week's news are difficult to read, we hope they will lead to justice, awareness, and accountability. End quote.
Not surprising that they even suffered it a bit themselves, as they were heavily partnered with.
Yeah, I was going to say,
Destiny.
It makes sense that Bungie would release a statement because they were a partner of Activision Blizzard for many years.
Huge partner of them, yeah.
Unfortunately, I don't remember the exact date, but I still remember whenever it came out in the news that Bungie was separating themselves from Activision. I was like, good for you, and I hope you succeed, and I hope you actually do well and surprise all of us. And to be honest with you,
well, they did.
Sorry, what?
I was going to say it was like late 2019, wasn't it?
It was like a first news story of it. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah. To be honest with you, if they were suffering some of this hardship, as well for some of the Bungie employees that came over, that really sucks, in all honesty. And the fact that you are, taking accountability as much as possible.
Well, this is the thing.
Whether they did or not, I don't know.
Sorry, Foxes.
No, you're fine.
This is happening everywhere. Like I've already thought. Well, we've already talked about. If Bungie's on the level here, and honestly, at this point, I trust no one.
It's fair.
If Bungie's on the level here, where it's like, look, this is we have had reports of this. This is happening in our company, but we are taking the steps to make sure that no one, to make sure that we're doing the right things when we get told about harassment or abuse that's happening in the workplace. That's how it should work. You'll never 100% end harassment or abuse. That unfortunately is not how the human race works. But if the systems that are in place to protect people actually function, that's the good thing. That's what you want to see happen. At Activision Blizzard, at Ubisoft, at Riot Games, those systems didn't work for a variety of reasons for a lot of people.
Yep.
Whereas at Bungie, again, if we take them at face value, they do things about it.
It's about accountability.
Exactly. The next one on the list was shareholder rights law firm investigating Activision Blizzard. This one reads, shareholder rights law firm Robbins LLP has launched an investigation into Activision Blizzard with concerns that certain directors and officers at the firm have violated the Securities Exchange Act of 1934 and breached their fiduciary duties to the company. Activision Blizzard faces a new lawsuit, this time from its investors. A class action. Actually, these are two separate ones that accidentally rolled into one, but I'll roll through it. Class action lawsuit has been filed against Activision Blizzard by investor rights company Rosen Law Firm on behalf of the studio's investors. The lawsuit alleges that between August 4th, 2016 and July 27th, 2021, quote, the purchasers of the securities of Activision Blizzard, end quote, were misled as the company didn't disclose the issues with its workplace culture. Shareholder rights. Oh, I felt dirty saying that out loud.
I was going to say, so some shareholders have a heart?
No, they don't.
They
some
just
shareholders
trying to cover
lost
their own ass.
It's neither. Some shareholders lost a lot of money.
Oh, hell yeah. What did they do? They, went down 10%, I think, in the share price?
One day, they went down 3.7 or something like that, and then continued to drop. Well, no, I mean, I think you're right. I think it was an overall 10% over a couple of days. But yeah. In one day, everybody goes, what's happening to my money right now? My millions and billions of money right now. Hold on. Let me find out,
Yeah. This is the thing about it. We got to keep this going really hard when it comes to the Activision thing, because they are eventually, not Activision, the Activision thing, they are eventually going to shut up and talk about Call of Duty. They're going to try and get that out as fast so they can shut this all down and make people think, see, Call of Duty, shiny thing, look at it. It's the same as the one last time, but it's shinier and everything. And they're going to try that. But we need to literally shoot that fucking thing right down straight away and concentrate on this still. And yes, shareholders trying to protect shareholders. What a
They're just
surprise.
protecting their money. We saw the same thing with CD Projekt Red. We talked about it at the beginning of the year, where the investors are suing CD Projekt Red because they lost a bunch of money. And it's like, I don't
You
care.
lost me my money. You lost me my money.
That's literally at the bottom, near the bottom of my priority list of things that have happened because of whatever you've done in this case, and CDPR's case.
This next one's going to be an interesting one when I talk about it.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'll read this one because there was 2 departures. I'll read them both. Then we can talk about them both.
Okay.
So the first one is President J.Allen Brack leaves Blizzard. And this one says, Blizzard President J.Allen Brack is leaving the firm after 15 years to, quote, pursue new opportunities, end quote, according to Activision. Executive Vice Presidents Jen O'Neill and Mike Ibarra have been appointed as co-leaders of the company effective immediately. And then everything else we've already talked about, so I'm going to skip down to the second departure, which reads, Activision Blizzard's SVP of Global HR, Jesse Meschuk, reportedly left the company earlier this week. Meschuk's departure was reported by Bloomberg and follows criticism of the firm's HR department as part of a lawsuit alleging harassment and sexual discrimination at Activision Blizzard. Part of the case claims that the company's HR department failed to protect its employees and address concerns raised. Note how both of them are choosing to leave the company. That's the one. That's like of many takeaways from this. That's like the first one that jumps out at me. These people have been allowed to leave with all of their benefits and all of their shares and all of their money. They have not been fired, regardless of what other articles I've read have said in the past couple of weeks. They've been like, cool. I have destroyed a lot of people. I have destroyed lots of lives. I'm out. See you. I'm going to explore new opportunities.
It's as much as like, you know, there's a lot of speculation. You know, it's just like, well, did they want to leave because they know, you know, about all this and they're like, fuck it, I don't want to be a part of this anymore.
Well, I've got
and
an
so
interesting question on that regard. Like, remind me in a second.
Yeah. You can speculate all you want, in my personal opinion, but all this screams to me is get out while you can because we've done bad shit. I'm sorry, I'm sure that, like, you know, someone somewhere out there, it's like, nah, but J.Allen Brack was also, you know, harassed, or the head of HR was, you know, like, you know, I'm like, sure, but it's all hearsay. I mean, granted, yes, there's so much about it that's hearsay, but still, like, this just screams to me like, hey, we got to get out because we're about to be a part of this. It's just like, well, what makes you think you'll also just escape?
Because that's how it works. Like, how many people left Ubisoft last year after all of the allegations came out? How many senior executives were allowed to walk away with all of their money and all of their shares and all their future earnings from the games that they'd helped develop? And it's like they face zero consequences because they just left and they're not part of Ubisoft anymore. So this is us changing. Like, you know, this is how we change. We just get rid of a couple of people leave, fall on their swords, and then it's fine. That was heavy sarcasm, by the way. For anyone trying to clip that out of context. Here's one though. You sorry, Moody. I'll let you jump in a sec. J.Allen Brack has left. Now Jesse Meschuk has left now, but like we've been covering on this podcast over the last, I'd say, about two-ish years, a lot of high-profile departures at Activision Blizzard, specifically at Blizzard. Jeff Kaplan left, Mike Mulheim left, and it's a number, like it's a time period that sits out at me now in that, the Department for Employment and Housing launched their investigation into Activision Blizzard 2 years ago, and we've seen a high number of high-profile management departures from Blizzard over the last couple of years, and we haven't really been able to explain it. And that is speculation on my point. I'm not saying they knew something, they knew this was coming, and they left before the shit hit the fan. I'm just putting two pieces of information side by side, and I'm just going to leave it hanging. Because I don't want to get sued.
Yeah, it seems. I mean, I can't think of any better word, but it seems all too suspicious. I mean, granted, like, yeah, people have been leaving for like a little while, but it's like, oh, now we have a lawsuit against us. Let's leave. It's like, you also allowed them to leave? Like, I mean, yeah, you can't hold anyone down. Sure, that's against the law, but like, you weren't saying that. Oh yeah, like you were a part of this, and so we need to fire you. Instead, he was just like, no, you can leave if you want.
You want to leave? Whew, that saves me a job of having to fire you.
Yeah, basically, yeah, that's basically what it is. What I think is funny is that my first story, obviously, when I came, but one words about games was obviously the
Blitzchung,
Hong Kong thing, and I said, I know I said this, that obviously Blizzard came out and they did an apology and everything like that on their whole BlizzCon thing and everything like that, and I know myself, I said, they've apologized, we have to hold them, let's see what goes on and everything like that. But I have to admit, at the same time, I was a bit naive to the part of that. I didn't know how crap the industry truly was. Like that.
I think that
Amy's kind of battered me with it over the 18 months I've been here. Like, seriously battered me with it. In a good way, but...
It's not my fault.
No, I know. Not.
I remember that podcast.
I know that. Yes.
I remember that podcast because you weren't on full time yet. Like... Yeah, it was one of those things where like I'd bring you on like a lot, but I would keep asking you because I didn't replace Keith for months. And I remember that podcast thinking, I remember the end of that podcast when we finished recording, because we kind of took different views on J.Allen and Brack's apology. Mm-hmm. You can tell because I'm using air quotes every time I say the word apology. And we kind of had a bit of a disagreement about it. And at the end, I was like, oh, I hope he comes back. I hope he comes back. And you did.
We did. It was just, we just had a different opinion. We didn't argue about it. So
yeah. And I bet you've regretted coming back every week since. I apologize.
Yes, every single week, Amy. Not like I hop into the Discord at all. But no, yeah. At the end of the day, egg on me. I'll admit that. Obviously, like that. The guy is just, he's left on his own accord, but he's also just a fucking scapegoat. We know he is. They'll come out and say, see, we've got rid of some bad eggs type of thing. But they've still got all the money and everything like that. And we're not going to get him charged or anything for all the shit and everything like that. So even though there's a damning video of BlizzCon, of him literally laughing on a panel, and a woman who asking a serious question.
Could we have a female character that didn't look like she stepped out of a Victoria's Secrets catalog, and then six men decide to mock this woman for a good 2-3 minutes? J.Allen Brack's one of them. It was horrific to watch, and there's a specific moment in that video where you can see the woman. She does the smile and the nod, and any women who are watching this will know what the smile and the nod is. And it's just like that broke my heart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so there's nothing really I can say about this. Like I said, apart from that one, I wanted to bring up there. Like I know I said something the first time, and I thought it would be fair to me.
Moody, I've said so much dumb stuff on this podcast, and grown as a person since then. And it's important it's important to recognize that you've grown as a person, but also like to do what you're doing right now, which is to hold your hand up and say, I said that thing. It was dumb. I shouldn't have done it. It's almost like a better apology than J.Allen Brack's apology at BlizzCon in 2018. 19.
The thing is, I'm a big enough fan to know when I'm wrong. I'm not ashamed to admit when I'm wrong. At all. I'll literally say, yo, I was wrong. There. Nothing more about it.
And as long as we all learn from it, which it seems like less and less of us fucking do, then, that's how you become a better person.
For me,
this is how a white dude should apologize and admit when they're wrong. This is how easy it is, white dudes.
You say you're wrong and you learn from it and you get better. Yeah. That's how you literally become a better person.
Well, this is the thing I always think of when it's like you do something wrong, you say something wrong, you apologize, cool. Now what are you gonna do about it? And in Moody's case, what he's gonna do about it is he's gonna agitate for change.
Not damn thing. Not goddamn thing about it. Joking, I'm joking. Trying to lighten the mood. It's been a difficult 3 weeks, guys. We've talked about these bastards 3 weeks in a row.
It's only going to get worse.
I know.
No, but that's what you do. It's like, it's the what are you going to do about it? Like an apology isn't it? To say like, I'm sorry, I fucked up. I'm sorry I actively ruined people's lives. It's like, cool, that's only step one, though. You get that, right? And obviously I'm not talking about Moody anymore. He didn't ruin anybody's life. Like,
Except mine.
And mine, actually. But there's your joke. But no,
Yeah.
for real, like, I've seen a lot of apologies flying around from a lot of people, but it's like, okay, but what are you going to do about it? Because the people who are actually making the apologies have power within the industry to actually enact change. Are they going to enact that change? It doesn't fucking look like it. I saw one guy apologize for like, not even apologize. I saw one guy being like, well, I never knew, and if I knew, I would have done this, and I tried to do this, and then someone came out with a story about him, and he was like, oh shit, I've been caught, I'm melting. And it's just like, it's a mess, but I'm glad it's getting out there.
So to the idiot CEOs or bosses or chief execs who literally saying, I didn't know anything, that just means how crap of a boss you are. You have to question your negligence towards your staff in general. Why weren't you double checking to see all your staff were fine and everything? You clearly were not.
Like, this is the thing. You see, like, it doesn't take much research to find out that most of these people are full of shit. Mike Morhaime put out an apology talking about how he didn't want to, like, he didn't know about any of this stuff, and then a woman went on Twitter. He used to work at Activision Blizzard and said, "Well, I emailed you about it, and I got in trouble for emailing you about it. So hey, what's the deal with that?" J.Allen Brack said in his statement before he left Activision Blizzard that he spent his entire career fighting against the type of frat boy culture that was in the lawsuit. And then a video surfaces where he's mocking a woman at BlizzCon for asking for women in their games who don't wear fucking bikinis. Like, it's all bullshit. And they think they can get away with it. That's how stupid they think you are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Very true.
It's complete facts. You keep giving them money, you're proving how stupid we are. And you are, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone else. Like, seriously, that's how it is.
It's almost like people have fought for the legitimacy of this industry for so long, and even actually gone to as far as going through so many trials and so many tribulations to actually fight for its actual legitimacy through money even, and yet you just want to toy around with it. Why?
Did you have a good itch there, Foxes?
Yeah,
Oh,
actually.
That's really satisfying.
Yeah, get up
You gotta
right
get
in
right.
that.
Yeah, get deep.
Get up
deep,
in there, baby. Oh, yeah, this is the content that people want to see.
So Amy, how did you eventually get banned from YouTube?
Oh yeah. Dun, 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 dun,
Oh dear.
We have to
So
bring in the light moments.
What were we talking? We were talking about frat boy culture, right?
Yeah.
Jesus. Okay, next up. Activision Blizzard exec Fran Townsend deletes Twitter profile following inflammatory post about whistleblowing. And this is from Tom Ivan over at VGC, who writes, Activision Blizzard executive Fran Townsend has seemingly quit Twitter in the wake of a heavily criticized post she made about whistleblowing. Townsend, who previously served as the Assistant for Homeland Security and Counterterrorism to George W. Bush, has been Executive Vice President for Corporate Affairs and Chief Compliance Officer at Activision Blizzard since March 2021. In her current role, she oversees Activision Blizzard's communications, among other corporate functions, but her messaging has made her a target since the DFEH's lawsuit was filed. First, she reportedly sent a company-wide email calling it, quote, a truly meritless and irresponsible lawsuit, which presented a distorted and untrue picture of our company, including factually incorrect, old and out-of-context stories, end quote. Her comments, which formed part of Activision Blizzard's combative response to the lawsuit, contributed to employees staging a walkout in protest of working conditions at the company and a loss of faith in its leadership. More recently, Townsend drew significant criticism for using a Twitter account to tweet, quote, the problem with whistleblowing, end quote, in a message linking to an Atlantic article on the subject. After being flooded with responses, Townsend reportedly started blocking Activision Blizzard employees on Twitter, and on Wednesday, she appeared to have deleted her account. She's had a good week.
She's had a very good week, yeah. Very, very
Again,
good week.
like, I feel like this just echoes the last thing I said. This is how stupid they think you are.
Yeah. Because
they can talk all they want about,
Yeah.
oh, we're going to fix it, and oh, we're going to do better. And I'll remind you, Bobby Kotick didn't release a statement until the share price dropped by like 8%. Like, they'll say, like, we're going to fix it, and we're going to do it. And in the meantime, Fran Townsend, torture advocate, by the way, we did that story back in March, is doing this. She's releasing internal memos talking about how bullshit the lawsuit is and retweeting.
Was she also only here for less than a year?
She's been here since March 2021.
Yeah,
to even vilify, or not vilify, but verify your point.
Yeah.
Sorry, continue.
No, we did the news story when it broke.
Yeah.
It was weird. Like, Activision Blizzard had hired like 3 people who were all like ex-Donald Trump staffers or ex-George W. Bush staffers, and it was really, really weird. And yeah.
Is it really weird with Tommy with the CEO in charge?
I mean, a little weird. Like, to read a story where
the Republicans. No, it isn't.
It's a little weird to do a video game podcast and read the headline. Oh, Activision Blizzard just hired someone he was like the number one person who was like, yeah, let's torture the fuckers in the Bush administration. Like, this podcast is taking me places. I'm not gonna lie.
No doubt about it.
The things that she's done and things that she said, that's what Activision, that's what the higher ups, the management and Activision Blizzard actually think. So I guess I can applaud Fran Townsend for at least being honest.
Let's give her a round of applause. Honestly, at last, yay!
Honestly, the wrong way. Let's go and applaud.
However, before I let you guys just jump in with anything that you want to say, I do just want to point out the heavy irony that that someone who advocated for the torture of prisoners couldn't handle 24 hours of being bombarded on Twitter.
All it takes is the internet, ladies and gentlemen. That's all I'm hearing.
Round of applause for the internet. Wait, what? This has been a weird week. Foxes, you go first.
Naive isn't just the word. It isn't the only word. But I'll be damn for sure if that isn't what's like echoing and being the loudest upon everything that she decided to talk about whenever it came to this fucking company, that she's been here for less than a year.
That's like, not in our culture. How would you know?
Like, yeah, like, I mean, don't get me wrong. Sure, experience in so many different avenues sometimes does pay off and does help for some things, but you are literally speaking on a topic that has not only been reported, not only has been, echoed, has not only been rumored, has not only been, like for so many years, that you think that the smallest sliver of like what you've only experienced, which I don't believe that's just like, I'm not going to talk about all the other shit that I saw, but yeah, the good shit that I saw, that's the only thing I'm gonna talk about. All of it just screams naivety. Like, I'm sorry, you should have just shut up in the first. Actually, no, I don't like silencing anyone. So no, I shouldn't say that. But what I should say is that this might not have been the stance that you might want to, chosen, because obviously it's already now at this point, like, your stance is falling out from underneath you because everyone else is like, excuse me?
Well, their stance is falling out from underneath her because she's one person. And the people who are relating their actual lived experiences at Activision Blizzard are in what, hundreds by now?
Yeah, and has experienced this for years at this point now, and it's like,
if 100 people are telling you one thing and one person's telling you another thing,
It's called Occam's razor for a reason. It
in this context, I should point out in this context specifically.
Yeah.
What I just said.
It's kind of painful because it's just like, man, this is who you had decide to speak up, and now that they're, like, now at this point they're like, oh, I fucked up so hard that now I got to go into hiding, like socially.
But not before
It's just
trying to triple down and start blocking people, and then surprise, surprise, a lot of the people who are asking questions of you on Twitter were also Activision Blizzard employees. Whoops, you just blocked them. Good move.
Naive.
Good move.
Naive and a little bit stupid. But to be honest with you, smart on you for thinking that we were that stupid, I guess, because we're not.
This is how stupid they think you are.
Mm-hmm.
Gonna keep repeating. You're gonna hear me say that a lot over the next few months.
Let's just be frank here, ladies and gentlemen. They've hired the silliest staff in the world, and they think they can get away with it. She's done god awful things even before coming to Activision, and she's just tried to bunker down, trying to make herself out to be as smart as what she thinks she is, and she really isn't, because they've literally pulled her entire thing apart. And then she starts blocking freaking employees of the place she works at.
What was it that they said in that statement? Oh, you can come to management with any of your problems. Well, apparently you can't.
Yeah, they're coming to with problems. You're ignoring their problems.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
the only thing is, like I've said it on many occasions. I've said it already in this podcast. I'm just going to say it again. Like, the entire leadership structure needs to be completely dismantled at Activision Blizzard. And like, if we hear that she's gone, it's like, so what? The CEO is still there. The CEO is still there. The person who was basically done all of it he's been in charge of this frat boy culture.
We've seen this play out already last year. Like, we know what change isn't enough. Like,
yep.
Where Ubisoft and the people who work there are a year ahead of the curve, and things need to be done differently at Ubisoft, but things need to be done differently at Activision Blizzard as well. But I have a feeling they won't be, and I have a feeling this is all going to get.
I won't be playing any of their games. That doesn't bother me. I've had a lot of fun with certain games this year that aren't big AAA games, ladies and gentlemen.
That's the most horrifically perfect segue into the next news story. I wish it wasn't. Open Road Studio co-founder steps down following toxic workplace allegations, issues statement. This is from Leanna Rupert over at Game Informer, who writes, Fulbright co-founder Steve Gaynor has departed his position as creative lead on the studio's new game Open Roads following allegations regarding the company's work culture. A new report from Polygon shares a deeper look into the toxic work environment of Fulbright, following shortly after the game's Twitter account shared a notice of the leadership change. The official Open Roads Twitter account offered a message to fans about Gaynor's change in position. Quote, "We are a small team passionate about making an inclusive, poignant, story-driven game that gives players a feeling of discovery. We care deeply about creating games that have a positive impact. We are also fervent believers in fostering a work environment that is healthy and collaborative, where we can work with transparency, autonomy, and trust." As such, Fulbright's co-founder Steve Gaynor has stepped back from his role as creative lead and manager and transitioned into a role as a writer, handing off day-to-day responsibilities to the team to complete Open Roads. We're all excited by how the game is shaping up, and we hope you'll follow along as we continue to share our progress, end quote. Immediately after that post went live, Polygon's report also became public, sharing a closer look at what led to the decision behind the shift. In the report, the site began by stating that 15 developers that have been working on Open Roads since its development in 2019 have since left their positions within the studio. 12 of those 15 spoke with Polygon, citing Gaynor's actions and behaviour at work as the reason. More specifically, the former employees have come forward to say most of the alleged behaviour that led to their departure has been directed towards women. Polygon goes on to note that the co-founder actually departed from his position earlier this year in March 2021, once it became clear that the efforts to put forth towards improving work relations were not effective long-term. The employees that came forward all wished to remain anonymous to avoid retaliation and backlash as they opened up about their reported experiences at Fulbright. Many of the stories have a controlling theme tying them together, alleging that Gaynor adopted a high school mean girl attitude when it came to belittling, mocking, and dismissing his workers. Some of his former employees have gone on to leave the gaming industry altogether, while others found work at different studios. Of the workplace allegations listed, those who spoke with the site mentioned that they had never witnessed or experienced anything relating to sexual harassment or, quote, blatant sexism, end quote. This detail is made clear amidst Activision Blizzard currently being sued by the state of California following sexual misconduct and labor abuse allegations. Numerous former employees mentioned that women in leadership positions within Fulbright were overly micromanaged, made fun of, and mischaracterized whilst under Gaynor's leadership. Those who stepped forward said they wanted to come forward about his behaviour, but they had no actual process to do so. While there was sometimes a third-party consultant, there were no human resources employees working at Fulbright. The report also details past instances where Gaynor was made aware of his reportedly toxic behaviours, even citing that he was warned about possible parallels between him and a report about Scavenger Studios' toxicity. According to the timeline presented by the site, it didn't take long before Annapurna Interactive, publisher of Open Roads, stepped in when leadership noticed that most of the employees leaving were women. Leading up to his shift within the company, employees made numerous attempts to make his behaviour known, including sending digital post-it notes through the internal servers and during exit interviews. Several developers even sought out the publisher for a more direct approach. A spokesperson for the studio told Polygon that Annapurna is, quote, aware of the situation and has been instrumental in helping the Open Roads team make changes to its structure, end quote. Gaynor has now addressed the allegations with the following note, quote, hi all, I have a statement to share about my role at Fulbright. Earlier this year, I stepped back from my role as creative lead on Open Roads. My leadership style was hurtful to people that worked at Fulbright, and for that I truly apologize. Stepping back has given me space and perspective to see how my role needs to change and how I need to learn and improve as part of a team, including working with an expert management consultant and rethinking my relationship to the work at Fulbright. I care deeply about Open Roads and the Fulbright team. I'm sad to have stepped back from the day-to-day development of Open Roads, but it's been the right thing to do. The Open Roads team has my full faith and support as they bring the game to completion. End quote. It's everywhere. Like I said, like I've been saying. This is everywhere. So let's talk about this one. Can I talk about the timing? Because I got to witness this firsthand. I don't know if you saw it on my Twitter. I actually got to experience this in real time as it was happening, where all of a sudden the Open Roads game Twitter account put out the statement that I read at the top of the story. We're a passionate team. We want to be transparent and, autonomy and trust and all that bollocks that they said. With no context. Because the story hadn't come out yet. So literally, I think there was about 20 minutes on Twitter of like everybody who was awake and was like following games industry Twitter was just like, oh, what the fuck has happened? Like what is about to happen? Because it was like a 30 minutes I think between Open Roads Twitter published their statement and then Polygon published their article. And I gotta say it, like, considering in the statement, we are also fervent believers in fostering a work environment that's healthy and collaborative, where we can work with transparency, autonomy, and trust. But then, like, do not go into detail about why this statement has been made in the first place. That's not transparency. You're trying to cover your own, you're desperately scrambling to cover your own ass.
For sure.
So let's talk about the actual story.
In all honesty, like, this sounds like one of those things that's like, wait, if everyone knows, and if you know, and now Polygon and everyone else like us knows that you are not a great person to work with, why are you still there?
That's the £1 million question, Foxes.
Like, I realize that there is no HR team, but is there no investors to be like, yeah, you're gone, or this kind of bothers the shit out of me because it's like one of those things. Just it's like, I realize that you are talking about a person who has had some kind of creative vision or some creative hand and a part of this, but I mean there aren't better people who have the exact same talent.
I'm not particularly excited to play a game where the two main characters are women, written by a man who is described in this article. that does not appeal to me in the slightest, because it's like, well, I kind of know what he thinks of women. I can see it in his actions that have been reported. Fulbright is a small indie studio. 15 people leaving. That's a lot. That's a big number of people leaving. I know some of those people, and I thought it was weird that they'd left Fulbright. But I don't know them. I follow them on Twitter. Sorry, I should clarify.
Yeah.
I follow some of them on Twitter, and I saw them leave Fulbright, and I thought it was a bit strange. And now here we are again. Why? Like, so he stepped back from his leadership role to just be a writer. And if you actually go, you should read the full Polygon article. Nicole Carpenter wrote it. It's incredibly good reporting. Like, there's now a buffer. Like, so it's not just like Gaynor has stepped down and is now working in the office, like writing the game side by side with the other developers. He's basically been set to one side, and there is a buffer between him and the development studio. So like Annapurna have stepped in, they've seen the situation that's going on, and they've gone, cool, we need to get you out of here. But then he still works there.
I'm kind of like, there has to be some either contract or like some type of like legality, or
he is the co-founder of Fulbright.
That's probably maybe the reason why. Because if Annapurna, like, if anything, I'm kind of surprised Annapurna just been like all right, yeah, there's there's got to be a reason why we can't kick you out, but at least we can put you like somewhere low. Honestly, why not put him even lower?
He's the writer of the game, and that's not me excusing it in any way. I don't think he should work in there anymore at all. But
yeah,
he wrote the game.
I wonder if by the time that this game comes out, or whichever games that they have in the pipeline, that Annapurna just doesn't be like, okay, now we're absolving you, and now we're going to like reform the image of like what this.
Well, I'm unsure about the nature of the role, because I believe Annapurna is just a partner.
Oh,
I don't think
so
that. I don't think they actually own it, because we'll talk about the Annapurna showcase in a bit. But what Annapurna does is they sort of partner with development studios as opposed to have their own.
Gotcha.
Okay. But again, it's just like, imagine having to still be there, knowing he was still like contributing to the game after all of this, like after the. Again, it's another man who gets to just damage people's lives and damage people in general, and there's no consequence.
I wouldn't be surprised if he starts to drive out more people, and then it becomes like one of those detrimental things. It's like, hey, we haven't finished a game because we don't have enough people. It's like, oh, I wonder why. Maybe it's because you still have someone there. I mean, granted, yes, co-owner, or not co-owner, but owner and all that, but like, yeah, sorry, just echoing what you've said. It's kind of frustrating.
My small part is that the guy shouldn't be there. I don't care if he's the founder or co-founder or whatsoever. It doesn't mean you're allowed to be a dickhead. And you just need to leave. Okay, it's but yeah, that's all I can really say about that.
Yeah. Sure.
If you're going to be an asshole, if you're going to make people leave, like you said, Amy, 15 people left, and they're a small studio already. That's probably, I would say, half of their team, if not more than half their team.
It was like a churn, right? So like people leaving, people coming in, then people leaving again, and then Annapurna's looking at it, going, "Wait, why are only the women leaving?"
Mm-hmm.
It turns out because Steve Gaynor is a massive misogynist.
Mm-hmm.
There's no other way to describe it. Like if you target and I said this about Snake Avatar man on Twitter, it's like if your behavior is coincidentally targeted towards women, guess what? I got some news for you. You might want to sit down. It's not a coincidence.
Mm-hmm.
Should we move on?
Yeah.
Where are we? Oh, I put a timeline cleanse in the middle of the thing. It's like a Twitter thing where it's like you doom scrolling for ages, and then someone posts a timeline cleanse, and it's a video of cats like playing in the snow or something. I put one in the Google Doc. There's a new shorter games with worse graphics bundle on itch.io, and it's exactly what it says it is. This is from Melindy Hatfield over at PC Gamer. He writes, In 2020, Fanbike podcast producer Jordan Mallory posted a tweet that not only went viral, but also crystallized a feeling of dissatisfaction that many have about the state of the gaming industry. Quote, I want shorter games with worse graphics made by people who are paid more to work less, and I'm not kidding, end quote. As with any good tweet, Mallory didn't elaborate, but anyone familiar with AAA development knew what he meant. Mallory posted the tweet around the release of the highly acclaimed and certainly good-looking The Last of Us 2, which reportedly required developers to crunch heavily. Likewise, there are reports of crunch for Red Dead Redemption 2, a game so beautiful and so realistic you can all but see your horse's balls draw up when it gets cold. It captured a feeling that was in the air. There are plenty of instances where you can't help but think less would have been more, specifically, more sleep for developers. The shorter games It's actually quite a tongue twister.
Mm-hmm.
The shorter games with worse graphics bundle aims to be the opposite of those games. There are a lot of true indie games out there made by solo developers or small teams with no publisher and no funding, and generally itch.io is the place to find them. Itch has also become a great platform for people who want to contribute to a cause and get some sweet games out of the deal, as seen with the Black Lives Matters bundle and the bundle for Palestine. Go get some cool games, everybody. Itch.io. It's the future.
Mm-hmm.
I have about 2,000 games on itch.io. Not even joking.
Yeah. I've got about 1,500.
We have bought all the bundles.
Yeah, we bought a lot. Yeah, if I remember right, I remember this tweet when Last of Us came out, and I think
I keep saying it over and over, like every now and again on the podcast.
Yeah, and I think it's pretty spot on. For the most part, like for the only thing like I would say is like Naughty Dog, you could have done The Last of Us 2 without crunching. Red Dead Redemption 2, you could have done Red Dead Redemption without crunching. Yes, may of those games may have had to take another 6 months to a year to come out. Yes, but I don't care.
I'm going to tie this into another game, Halo Infinite. So some stuff happened on Twitter. Some guy with a YouTube channel was complaining about the fruit in Halo Infinite, how when you shoot it, it doesn't react realistically, like physically realistically. Whereas, like, when you compare it to The Last of Us Part 2, you know, if Ellie shoots the fruit in The Last of Us Part 2, it's got realistic physics. So, like, the watermelons will explode like watermelons. Whereas, like, if you shoot the fruit in Halo Infinite, it's, like, one texture that just, like, explodes. A lot of people were quick to point out that, you know, there was an apocalyptic amount of crunch with The Last of Us Part 2, pun intended. Whereas, like, you know, as far as we are aware, there is not that with Halo Infinite. Now, here's the thing. Why does it matter if the fruit explodes realistically in a video game? Unless your game is Fruit Ninja, why does it matter?
Or Control.
Or Control.
Yeah.
See, but I actually, like, I bring that up specifically only because, like, if we didn't harbor the whole, like, money is our time and our power and everything that we have, all the shareholders wouldn't then put the quote unquote crunch onto the owners, then put the crunch on the developers. It's almost like some things don't fucking need it. Almost like, sorry, and it's almost like those games who do want it will take the time to actually do it healthily, safely, and well done, like Control. You know, they didn't make Control just because, like, they were like, fuck it, we're getting crunched, we need to put out a new game. They're like, no, we're going to take some time on a game and on a project that's something that we love. We're also going to take our own personal time of making sure the things that we get done are right, and it'll come out when it fucking comes out. Deal with whenever it comes out.
Yep. Like, I don't know about you guys, but I don't need to see my horse's, like, balls shrink up in the cold.
It doesn't matter.
As impressive a technical achievement as that is, it really does not matter.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah. That's the thing about it. That's the culture that is happening in games, isn't it? It's like you need to be more realistic. You have to be more the 3D beautifuln's and the ray tracing and all this craziness. You have to have the realism and everything. No, you don't.
You don't have to. It's cool when you have it. Foxes brings up Control. That's an excellent point.
I don't deny that. Like, but those ones, like, but Foxes said also at the same time, they didn't crunch.
Yeah,
they didn't crunch.
You know,
like I said at the beginning, Last of Us 2, they could have done the same thing without crunching.
Yeah.
Red Dead Redemption 2, they could have done the same thing without crunching. Yes, they may have been delayed 6 months to a year. Everyone would have been fine with that, as long as the people are, as long as your staff is fine. And the thing is about it, when it comes to Rockstar games in general, they're always crunching, pretty much, and that's always been the culture and everything.
They're already always starting on the next thing before they even finish and do everything they want in the thing that they're doing. Sorry.
Yeah, but it has been reported, if I remember rightly, Amy, Rockstar's thing has changed. We believe
Rockstar's thing is allegedly changed.
Yes. It has allegedly changed, so hopefully things are now. That's why I think they've already GTA 6 is like 2025, 2026 and everything, which is fantastic. Yeah. That is amazing. That's what we want to hear. Like, don't crunch this thing. You're making a ton. GTA 5's in the top 10 consistently every year. Not selling, always selling everything. Yeah, that's a freaking 2 generations ago game, ladies and gentlemen. Like that's literally that's the freaking 10 years ago, that game and everything. And like, yeah, like we can do what we can have our cake, and the companies can have their cake and eat it with having good work practices for their people.
Exactly. Like, I didn't want to. Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you, but I did need to say something. Like, it's cool that the horse's balls shrink up, and whoever did that, whoever was responsible for that, was probably very proud of it, and I didn't want to diminish that. That
applaud
achievement.
For you on the work on that. We didn't necessarily need it, but applaud for you on the work on that.
Yeah, I've said, like, for me, Red Dead Redemption 2 didn't work for me personally, but I can say that is a technical masterpiece of a game. Like, it's a technical masterpiece. I can never deny that at all. But I can only imagine that the board they have, because obviously the mood board for that type of freaking thing. So you need to create horse balls. Oh my God, what the mood board was that for that person? Oh my God, I can only imagine what it was.
Now we have to give you a diagram and draw how we want this to work. So we're going to draw horse balls, and then now we're going to draw them shrinking, and then you can see the dynamic change.
There's probably some poor bastard over at Rockstar who spent like 6 months working on just horse balls.
If there wasn't one
entire
person,
life.
Yeah, if there wasn't one person going, really? You want this? Okay. Like, if there wasn't one person, I'd feel really sad, actually. Like, because, I mean, fuck it. Like, I mean, they'll want what they want, and they're going to get it because it's Rockstar. But, yeah, I agree with you. It definitely doesn't need to take crunch to be able to develop something like horse ball shrinking.
If horse ball shrinking is what you want to put in your game, go for it. Don't crunch your staff for horse ball shrinking.
Yeah, like there's a story we're going to get to shortly, which has annoyed me for one separate thing and one separate thing only. But I'm also happy at the same time, which we will get to after the show.
Yeah, so I was off last week's podcast. I was quite ill and couldn't make it. And one of the things I did was I watched the Annapurna Interactive Showcase because it was on at 8 p.m. And I was like, well, I'm not on the podcast. I'm currently lying in bed feeling sorry for myself. I might as well turn Twitch on and watch some stuff about video games. So shout out to Imran Khan over at Fanbyte, who put everything in bullet points.
Shout out to that man in general.
Shout out to Imran Khan in general. He's cool. I like Imran a lot. So here's the bullet points from that. By the way, the Annapurna, I don't know if you guys watched the actual showcase. Really good showcase. Very well paced. Loved it.
Yeah, moved really fast. I liked it.
Was nice and zippy, and the way they sort of where they placed everything in terms of because they had basically two types of things. One was game stuff, where it was here's a release date, here's a trailer, and then here's a developer we're partnering with on a game. We're not going to tell you what the game is yet because we can't, but it's a developer you might know if you know indie game developers. So let's watch them talk for a bit, and then it would sort of switch between the two. It was quite cool.
They got the personality across. That's the thing about it. They weren't just my name is Joe Blogs 500, and I am creating this game. It's about a fly going across a screen, and that's it. No, they showed personality in a lot of them, and they kept my attention to the thing. If it was just well, I was just there, I would have been like. But it wasn't. Because their personality shined across, and that's what we like to see from developers. I can't believe I'm going to say this, but when we saw at a Ubisoft press conference at E3, the guy who cried when Mario and Rabbids was revealed, the developer, the passion he was showing was incredible.
Hashtags.
Yes,
there was a hashtag.
Ubi...
Don't cry, Ubisoft guy. That was a hashtag.
Yeah,
was it?
Yeah,
yeah, and like when you see like the indie developers who come on like at EA Players and everything, like you're saying, they are awesome. You can see the passion and energeticness in them.
Like the first time you saw Martin Townsend at EA when he was talking about Unravel for the first time, and it was like that was the thing everybody talked about.
Yeah.
Like where it was just that was A, yes, it was an amazing game, but B, it's one of my like top 5 like E3 moments of ever.
Yeah, I'll never forget it. Easy.
It was so good.
Give me Unravel 3, because Unravel 2 I enjoyed as well.
Yeah.
Between him and, unfortunately, I can never remember her name for Ghostwire Tokyo. I'll never forget those two. Those
Kumi Nakamura.
Video game. Yeah, thank you.
It's spooky.
I'll never forget it. Yeah. She's so cute. Sorry.
It was so good. Oh. We need to do like when there's a slow week. We need to do like an E3, like before next year's E3. We need to just talk about like best E3 moments. But anyway,
that's a good idea.
Annapurna Interactive Showcase. So the Artful Escape is coming out on September 9th for Xbox consoles and PC and Game Pass.
Artful Escape.
So it's the guy. It's a 2D platformer thing. It's the guy playing the guitar. It was at E3 a few years ago, and then it vanished.
Yeah. I remember it.
Everybody was like, "Oh, that looks amazing," and then it just went gone.
It is absolutely crazy. It looks absolutely
it looks
bonkers.
Cool. Looks cool.
I do remember seeing the art style for this. Yeah. Okay.
Like everybody remembers it, but only if you like show it to them. Because it was a while ago. It was like that time of Cuphead where it was like Cuphead was on screen for 2 seconds and everybody was like, "What was that? Oh my god!"
What was that? That was something new. That
looked really cool. What was it? And then it was like, "Oh shit, we didn't expect people to notice this. It was in a sizzle reel."
It was gonna be a boss battle game. That's it. Guys, they really like your game.
Cuphead.
Yeah. Went, smack.
It looks cool. Looking forward to it. Game Pass. Good choice. Means I don't have to worry about where I'm getting it from. Neon White, which was recently seen at a recent Nintendo presentation, comes from Donut County creator Ben Esposito. Players discard cards to move faster with new powers, making it a creative speedrunning game with side quests, dating sim aspects, and visual novel portions to become the #1 Demon Slayer. It hits Switch and PC this winter. For a game that's like, they even in the trailer, because they did quite an extensive trailer for this game, and even in the trailer they were like, yeah, this is going to be really great for speedrunning. Despite that, I was looking at this game going, this is really interesting. I'm really interested in this as a concept. This is fascinating.
This is such a weird, different, like, take on like so many different things that they're just like, fuck it, throw it all together. This is the kind of thing that I personally like. I like seeing this kind of creative ingenuity of just saying, yeah, we're gonna have a dating sim, a part of a card game that's a part of a speed running.
It's not a card game. So here's the thing.
Oh, really? It's not a card game.
It's a first person. How do you describe it? First person action game. Where you you start on a level.
First person card shooter game thing.
Whatever. You start. I'm gonna try my best to describe it, but maybe you should probably watch the trailer for it afterwards. Neon White.
Yeah.
You start off at a level, and you've got to get at the end of the level. Between you and there's platforming, and there's enemies. You have to get there as fast as possible, and you do that with the cards that you've got. So the cards that you've got are on the bottom of the screen, and they can be weapons. So you got a shotgun. But the shotgun, you can click it, and you've got like 2 shots with it. Boom, boom. It's done. It goes away. But if you use the shotgun's alternative, and I mean, this might not be accurate, I'm just using examples. If you use the shotgun's alternative mode, you do a double jump. Instead of shooting the shotgun.
Interesting.
Exactly.
Yeah. Still, like, even so much more so. Like, yeah, like the fact that there's just a mashup of a bunch of different ideas a part of this. That's cool.
Yeah,
this is really cool.
This cool. Looking forward to it.
The concept for Neo White is absolutely insane.
Yeah.
Like,
and so different to Donut County, like a chill fucking puzzle game.
Yeah. Total facts.
Which is a great game, by the way. Okay, what we got next? The creators of Falcon Age Outer Loop Games have a collaboration with Annapurna that remains unnamed, but focuses on skateboarding and personal cultural experiences. I've been following the guy Shan Ika. I'm sorry, I can't pronounce his name on the spot. But he's called Ika. Like, I've been following him for years on Twitter. He's cool. And I saw this, and it's like the guy that he was partnered with, he was the skateboarding guy, was like, I've been skateboarding for 25 years, and I'm still terrible at it. But I want to make a skateboarding game where like people can just play it and not have to worry about being good at it. And I was like, cool, because I tried to play Tony Hawk's and I was bad at it. But I want to play skateboarding games because skateboarding is cool. Have you seen the Olympics this year? Fucking Jesus Christ! They got skateboarding. They've got skateboarding lesbians. They've got skateboarding lesbians. It's amazing.
Okay, so all I've been hearing about is just the normal Olympic stuff that you always hear about. I did, however, see that there was a tabletop tennis or ping pong, like,
the guy, and then running around the table.
And that shit was nuts. I was like, dude, what? Like, this should be the Olympics. I don't give a... I mean, sure, it's cool that people can swim really fast and run really fast. Like, I applaud for all of them because and it's good human.
So on TikTok, I've seen 3 things about the Olympics on TikTok. 1, all the skateboarding, just all of it. 2, that table tennis thing you talked about, where they were like, bam, 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 and then that one guy runs a loop around the table.
The other guy just lays down. He's like, I'm so tired.
And
oh god.
And number 3, it's like all of the basically like women's soccer in your case, Foxes, like at the Olympics has become like this massive like speed dating thing. It's hilarious.
Okay. I need to watch the other events for more Olympics these days instead of hearing about the rest of it.
But anyway, I digress.
Check out the female BMX Olympics in 2021. Oh my god.
Yeah, all right.
Performance.
Yeah. You know how you think of
there's
the
a thing that happens there which is incredible.
You think of the Olympics, right? You think of running, swimming, jumping, all that shit. Forget that. Apart from Tom Daly knitting while he was waiting his turn to go down.
I did see that. That was pretty good, actually.
You want to watch? It's the other stuff that's really cool: fencing, the skateboarding, the BMXing. It's like that's the shit. That's the shit. But anyway, a memoir Blue is revealed and is coming to everything under the sun, including iOS. Jessica Mack, who was part of games like Sound Shapes, is collaborating with Annapurna Interactive on a music-focused adventure game. This was a cool segment. Irregardless of how the game turns out, Jessica Mack's segment was where she was talking about how like she thinks about music in terms of like how it interacts with video games was really interesting and really cool.
Oh, I remember playing Sound Shades, actually. No, sorry.
Yeah, that's fine. Storyteller is revealed, a game in which players pick a title, themes, and characters of a storybook, and have to make it work by dragging and dropping the elements into panels. From the trailer, it looks like somewhat restrained scribble notes. Coming soon to Switch and Steam, with Steam having a playable demo available now. This was a weird one. I liked it. They basically had to build the story.
That's kind of awesome, actually. I'd give it a try, that's for sure.
You do like weird, don't you?
You can, it's a demo. Solar Ash, a new game from the Hyperlight Drifter developer Heart Machine, is seen once again for yet another update trailer. The action-adventure game continues to look absolutely gorgeous, but now comes with an October 26th release date for PC, PlayStation 4, and PlayStation 5. That was my reaction to Foxes.
Hell yeah.
So many good games come out this year. At least I'm hoping good games come out this year. That's been like my tagline as of like the past 2 days. I hope so many good games come out this year.
There are so many good games coming out this year, and Solar Ash is one of them. Hyperlight Drifter was a special game.
What the hell?
And this looks wild. I cannot wait to play this on my PlayStation.
I'm such a big person about like, we're going to take like certain art styles or whatever it may be, certain stories, and then we're just going to throw it onto like completely new mechanics, completely new, different, like things to do with it, because like while a bit of this does look a lot like Hyper Light Drifter, it's also not pixelated as much either, but it's also a completely different game.
It's a completely
And it
different
still has
art
that
style,
same
different
essence, you know?
perspective. Like,
Yeah.
but you can see the DNA. You can see the foundation of
Mhm.
Hyper Light Drifter.
It looks
I
very
love
much
that.
like one of my favorite games last year, which I'm going to try and remember what it is right now by going on my Epic account. Where you had I'll have to double check. Just give us one moment.
Pathless?
What?
The Pathless.
Yes, there we are. Thank you. Yes, it looks very much like that, and I was just like,
Never let it be said that I'm not listening when you're talking. Speaking of the Pathless, we'll get to that in a minute. Ivy Road, a studio from the creators of The Stanley Parable and Gone Home, is making an unnamed title in collaboration with Annapurna Interactive. Don't know what this game is. However, The Stanley Parable was amazing. Gone Home was amazing. And these people, these were the guys, these were the people, Moody, who were drinking the tea.
yeah.
And then they were like, we've got the music guy. And he's trying to play the music. And he's like, and then he's holding was it a dog or a cat? He's holding the cat.
Cat.
I was like, I'm in for this. I'm in for like these people, right? Like, I love these people. It's great. Where are we? The Skin Deep, a sci-fi comedy immersive sim, gets an update trailer that shows off some of the creative ways players can solve problems, like throwing themselves or enemies out the airlock. I believe it's a rogue. It looks like a roguelike as well. I might be wrong.
Is
about
there? Oh, there it is. Okay, never mind. We're good.
That's good. We keep going. Don't worry. Don't worry. Every game got saved at the Annapurna Interactive Showcase. The Pathless, last year's critical hit, is coming to Steam on November 16th. What Remains of Edith Finch comes to iOS on August 16th. I Am Dead comes to Xbox and PS4 on August 9th. Telling Lies and Gorogoa are coming to Game Pass. Do you know, you ever just sat down, right? And you've just thought about all of the games that a single publisher has published. And just think, damn. Like, this was all the same publisher. It really hits you when you read them in a list like that.
I saw Stray's gameplay, and it just made me still want to play it even that much more. Like,
Yeah, Stray, the game about the cat, it got a guided trailer. Yeah, early 2022, PS4, PS5, Steam. Yes, it looked great. It looked really good.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed.
You can't pet the cat. You are the cat.
Mm-hmm. So what is they don't have a new title for their next horror game, right? Glasgow.
This was a funny one. I want to talk about this one. No Code Entertainment, a Glasgow-based studio with horror game lineage dating back to Alien Isolation, but is known for games like Stories Untold and Observation, announces a new collaboration with Annapurna Interactive. No, they don't. There wasn't a title or nothing about the game. It was just here we're partnering with No Code. Like, and what they were saying in the thing. Because obviously, No Code made Stories Untold. They made Observation. 2 great games. Love them both. And they're pretty creepy games. And what they were saying in the thing, in their their segment, was we never started out trying to make horror scary games, but then we made them and we released them, and people would tell us that was terrifying. So now we're actually going to try and make a scary game on purpose. And I tweeted at John McKellen on Twitter, and I was like, wait, you're trying to make a scary game on purpose? I was like, wait, you haven't been trying to make scary games on purpose? He was like, nope. And I went, so what does a scary game from No Code look like? And he's like, that's what we're going to find out. And I'm like, okay.
I kind of hope they top themselves. They're like, yeah, we didn't mean to do it, but we did a really, really good job at it. Now we're going to really, 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 really try to do a really good job at it. It's like,
now we're actually going to do it on
die?
purpose. That was my thought. It's like, wait, you tried to do it on purpose, so this means I'm clearly going to die on the stream playing this game.
Yeah.
Just give me Alien Isolation 2. Just you guys do it. The other studios, just you guys do it.
It could
Disney might allow you. It's fine.
Maybe it could be. Stories Untold and Observation is two really cool games, though. Like, and not enough people know about them. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Not enough people know about them.
I have heard about Observation. That was actually one of those ones that I think it's actually in my Steam library that I plan on playing.
It's very cool. It's very slow burn, but very cool. For Moody's benefit, Observation is a game where there's a woman and she's on a space station and there's been a catastrophic incident on the space station. But you don't play as the woman, you play as the AI of the space station. So you're like opening doors for her and doing stuff, and it goes places. It goes places.
I like the premise of it. As soon as like I'd heard about it, I was like, oh yeah, I think I'll be picking this up. And
if you like spooky space-based sci-fi, like basically if you like Alien, like it's nothing like Alien, but if you like sort of the vibe of Alien, you'll probably like Observation.
Have you played Stories Untold?
Briefly, it's on my to stream list.
Gotcha. Okay.
The last thing was Outer Wilds, sometimes considered one of the best games of the generation, is coming to Nintendo Switch. A new expansion titled Echoes of the Eye is also announced that will weave into the game, but the developers are purposefully not explaining how. Echoes of the Eye will launch September 28th, and goddamn if this doesn't sound like the perfect opportunity, the perfect excuse for me to finally play Outer Wilds.
I haven't played it either. Everyone that I watch is like, play this game. Like, you have to play this game. It's just like
everyone I know who's played it is like, this is one of the best games ever made, and I'm just like, I've never played it. I should really fix that. And because it's releasing on Switch in 2021, that means it's eligible for my Game of the Year list.
There you go.
Moving on, we have no time left, so I'm going to start cherry picking these news stories really, really quickly. Report. Horizon Forbidden West delayed to 2022. This is from Liana Ruppert over at Game Informer, who writes, there's a massive note next to it, who writes, earlier this year, Sony shared an extensive look at Aloy's continued story with Horizon Forbidden West, but the lack of a release window had many wondering if we would see the sequel this year. Following the rumors that followed said speculation, Horizon Forbidden West has officially been delayed to 2022. According to a new report from Bloomberg, the open-world story of Aloy is set to continue sometime in the first quarter of 2022, though an exact date has not been revealed at this time. Etc., etc. You don't need to know the rest. I think everybody saw this coming. Moody had things to say about this, but unfortunately he's abandoned the podcast.
So they haven't put out like a gameplay trailer. It's just only been the CGI. Like,
it's the CGI, yeah. There was this because the thing from earlier this year was like the story thing, wasn't it? It wasn't a gameplay thing.
If people were actually expecting it this year, I'd have been like,
well, this is what Sony does. Like, I don't like people were expecting it this year because Sony were like, it's definitely coming in 2021, and like I keep trying to drill it into people's heads, foxes. Sony have delayed literally every first-party game they have ever made. Stop believing them.
Yeah. It's almost like they set a really bad precedent for the rest of the companies to be like, oh yeah, we're showing you this amazingly looking CGI fucking trailer. It's not even gameplay yet, and we're telling you it's going to release this year. And every other company like, they could do that? Oh, then we can do that, right? Yeah, like we could just put out some CGI and be like, yeah, this game will come out.
We'll just tell everybody it's going to come out in 2021, but is it?
It's like,
no.
Isn't this just a vertical slice? It's like, yeah, so this isn't actually like in engine and you could do this yet. No, then it's not coming out this year. Sorry.
You got anything to say about Horizon Forbidden West still, Moody?
I just don't see it happening.
It's annoying for fantasy critics for me. I won't deny that.
I try to warn you.
I'll fuck off. I'm just gonna say that right now.
No, fuck you.
You're still gonna lose, so I don't care.
Probably.
As long as the staff aren't crunching and you're doing the right thing to delay it, that's all I care about at the end of the day. Delaying a game, there's nothing wrong with delaying it whatsoever.
Preach.
Yes, I heard the back end of what you just said there. I agree with what you're saying to a certain point. Like, don't delay it. Don't believe them or anything like that. If they're saying it's going to come this year, it's probably going to be done the year after or everything like that. I think the main thing when it comes to Horizon Zero Dawn was probably because of COVID and everything like that, which has happened for a lot of developers.
We were talking about this last year, saying like the knock-on effects going to get exponential for a while.
Yeah, I completely agree with you there. Like, so that's why I think there was no doubt about it. I think they were truly aiming for this fall. I think that this was their main one. They wanted to drop this fall and everything, but if they can't do it, they can't do it. And they're doing the right thing of delaying it. So, yeah.
So, we've got very little time left. We can skip most of everything else. There's one thing with this audience that I have assembled that I have to read. even if we go like 5 minutes over on the podcast running length, I have to read this with the audience that I have assembled. EA doesn't get enough credit for how it handles acquisitions, apparently. This is from Natalie Clayton over at PC Gamer. He writes, EA CFO Blake Jorgensen reckons the publisher should get more credit for how it handles studio acquisitions, in a line that's likely to send chills down the spine of anyone still reeling over the loss of countless studios axed by the company. During yesterday's financial report, Jorgensen expressed praise for the publisher's recent $1.2 billion acquisition of racing sim developer Codemasters. The studio's latest F1 title is currently exceeding sales expectations, a success Jorgensen puts down to how quickly Codemasters was able to integrate with EA's publishing and marketing efforts. Quote, "It's to the testament of an exceptional game development team that was able to produce the right assets, to produce the right marketing materials, to help us drive this business and the teams working together. And you know what? I think we don't get enough credit for that." End quote. The real win for EA was Apex Legends developer Respawn. Apex Legends brought in over 30 million weekly active players last season, with EA forecasting outstanding growth for the Battle Royale going forwards. The publisher would, of course, like to take its share of the credit for this boom. Quote, "Respawn has obviously driven the amazing development of Apex, but they've partnered with us extremely well to drive what is now. It's coming up to almost the $2 billion in business over 2 years. That's unheard of in our industry, and I'm not sure we get enough credit for it." End quote. This does, of course, immediately ring hollow in the light of how many studios EA has shuttered in even its own recent history. Dead Space may be getting a remake, but it was only 4 years ago that series creator Visceral Games was closed by the publisher. That's not to mention sore spots like Command & Conquer creator Westwood or Pandemic Studios getting shut down before it could realize its vision for Star Wars Battlefront 3. Even EA's so-called poster child Respawn has arguably been done dirty by the publisher at times. Apex Legends may have hit hard, but it's hard to forget Titanfall 2's infamous launch, with EA choosing to release the less established shooter right between its own Battlefield 1 and Activision's Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. Predictably, Titanfall 2 failed to meet sales expectations. But we don't think we get enough credit for that. I laughed so hard when I read this story. Like, I don't know about anybody else.
Person's an idiot. Let's just be frank here. Come on, man. Yeah,
Bloody
it's okay.
hell.
Apex is doing incredibly well, and it's making you a lot of money. Fine. I'll give that more to Respawn than over
Give that to Respawn entirely.
Yeah,
Like,
no, I didn't play Apex because it was an EA game. I can guarantee you that. Okay, like for the most part, the only thing, like for the most part, when it comes to like the Respawn thing, yes, the only thing they've really done bad to them was Titanfall 2 and everything. Like, we'll probably never, for the people who love Titanfall, Amy, Keith, etc. I think you are a fan as well, Foxes. You will probably not see a Titanfall 3 because they're focusing on franchises which has worked really well, which is obviously Apex and obviously Star Wars.
great. I like it. I love Apex. I love Star Wars Fallen Order. Like,
it's not completely out of the pipeline because Vince. No, it's not Vince Zampella anymore. It's
still Vince.
Is it
Zampella.
Still Vince?
Yeah,
he actually come out to say we're not working on it. Like, so we actually might get Titanfall 3, but it's not confirmed yet.
Okay.
You heard it here first, everybody. Industry Insider, Red Vader Fox, confirming Titanfall 3.
That was on his Twitter, so.
But at the same time, like I audibly went, when I heard that EA were buying Codemasters.
On the podcast.
One of my favorite racing games in the world in F1, who do an incredible job. But I did audibly go, oh, God.
Oh, no.
I was in a rock and a hard place. Fox's All was either EA or Take-Two. So
yeah.
I didn't know which one to cry over.
As soon as the EA buys a studio, the clock has started.
Yeah.
And they can keep saying, "Oh no, we would never think of closing X studio." But I mean, history's not on your side here, EA. History is not on your side with that.
Yeah.
And I just laughed. I don't think, you know what? I don't think we get enough credit for that. It's funny.
I have two sides of the coin on this, like I've been known to say before. On one side, it's, oh, well, good on you for maybe helping out a studio. On the other hand, Fuck off.
Moody.
No, you won't get any light from me until you have said, hey, well, I mean, sure, as excited as I am for the whole Dead Space remake, and I even had like a little tear because I was like in so much shock. You still have to like actually make better upon yourself as a company to actually support your developers, creators, and give them what they are due diligently deserved, whether it be their own time slots for releases, their own non-crunch time, or their own fucking, like shutting down developers just because they're like, we're having a hard time trying to come up with something new, so we need a little bit of help. Oh, well, let's just sack you instead. No, you don't get any of that from me. Not until you have changed.
Wait, this is a severance check.
Yep. You need to become better. And then I'll give you your fucking credit.
Game's out next week, maybe. We are so far out of time.
Black Book. It's coming to PC, PlayStation, Xbox, and the Switch. It is a dark RPG adventure based on Slavic myths, thank you, in which you play as a young sorceress, fight evil forces in a card-based battles and explore the world, where humans live alongside mythological creatures. A lot of card-based battle games these days. Button City, PC, PlayStation, Xbox, and Switch. Button City is a colourful, low-poly narrative adventure game about a fox and his friends banding together to save their local arcade. Is this Tunic?
No, this is way cuter than Tunic.
Yeah, Tunic is cute.
That's what I'm saying.
Explore a diorama?
Yeah.
Diorama world, play exciting arcade games, complete quirky quests, and meet cute animal friends.
This is on Amy's must-buy list.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, she likes cute things.
Cute, quirky, and weird.
Seed of Life PC is an epic adventure game about a persistence of life. Your Cora, the last known survivor of Luma, a dying planet. Your only hope to save your home world is to activate the seed of life and rekindle the sun once again. Will you be the light that conquers the darkness? That sounds like what's happening in life right now. Oh my god. Fire Tonight, PC and Switch, a narrative puzzle game about two people trying to find their way back together in a city of fire. Foreclosed, PC, PlayStation, Xbox, and Switch, is a narrative-driven action. Let me try that again. Is a narrative-driven action-adventure set in a cyberpunk. Oh god, no! Worlds filled with action, suspense, and excitement.
Experimental augmentations.
Thank you very much. Follow the story of Evan Kapos in this sleek comic book styled game as he unravels the conspiracy behind his identity foreclosure, who is responsible and why. Last game, Naraka Bladepoint PC. Naraka Bladepoint is a 60-player action battle royale offering players insane mobility powered by parkour and grappling hook, a vast arsenal of melee and ranged weapons, and a roster of characters with powerful abilities. Transform yourself into a gigantic Vajra? Warrior.
A gigantic warrior.
A gigantic warrior and crush your enemies.
Also, I just have to point out that The Office has ruined the word parkour for me forever. Moody said it, and all I could hear was Michael Scott going parkour,
parkour,
parkour. It's time for OpenCritic Head-to-Head. This is the game we play every week where we try to guess the OpenCritic average of one upcoming game. Whoever gets as closest gets 1 point. If you manage to get the score completely correctly, you get 2 points. Doesn't matter because the game we tried to do last week was delayed till September 28th. So we'll be keeping that one for a while and seeing what happens when the game comes out. That means the scores haven't changed. Amy and Moody are still tied with 12 points each. Keith's in next with 10. Fox is with 6. and 2 draws. This week, we're trying to guess the OpenCritic average of Naraka Bladepoint, a 60-player battle royale action game. And trust me when I say that, if you haven't heard of it yet, it's going to be everywhere when it comes out because this game is popular. Booty. He was very quickly changing his guess after I'd said that. What do you think? Jesus Christ.
Going back to my original number of 85. I went from 85 to 65, back up to 85.
Damn. Wish I hadn't fucking said anything now. Foxes, what do you think Naraka
I had no idea anything about this game, I have to say.
I've watched people, I've watched streamers play this game, and
I've heard so much about it.
Yeah.
It's very popular in Asia.
Is it?
Yes.
I mean, it's another BR, but melee style, and with different abilities and stuff like that.
It seems different enough, right? It seems like it's not another Apex or Fortnite or COD.
Yeah.
But it's also a multiplayer game.
Yeah, I want to say most BRs actually end up doing well for themselves kind of in the early, and then it dips down, and then of course they have to fix it, and then do a bunch of whatever the fuck.
Yeah, it's like how many
the 80
Go on.
Moody's 85 isn't that bad. No, you're good.
Well, should be fucking 65, won't it?
I might just guess that just for the crack.
I'm gonna go 80.
Yeah, the thing, I'm in 2 minds because Naraka Bladepoint looks awesome. I've seen it at a few shows. I've seen some people streaming it. It's very popular amongst the competitive multiplayer battle royale people. It's very popular in Asia through its alphas and its betas. But at the same time, how many online games have launched and been like, "Well, this is fucking broken"? It's always that. It's always that sort of balancing act, right?
Play this one character and have these specifically 2 weapons, and you're meta, and you're gonna rip everyone up even if you have no skill. Oh, thanks.
Yeah, but that doesn't affect. That usually doesn't affect the launch game. So, given that Moody's gone all the way up to 85, and I don't think I'm playing strategically here. I'm not playing with my heart. I don't think it's gonna get much higher than 85. So I'm gonna cover the bases and go lower. And I'm going to go 75. This isn't what I think the game's going to get. I'm hedging my bets. I've got a better chance of getting it with this, whereas if I try to fight with you and Moody in the 80s, I'm going to get the shit kicked out of us. It's not happening.
That or it's going to bomb and you're going to be the closest one to it.
If it's broken when it comes out, boom, I win. And then I just wait for them to fix it and play the shit out of it.
Is this going to be free?
$16.99 or something like that. $20, I think.
Okay.
Not quite free, but not full price or anything.
Yeah, true.
Which is fair.
Yeah.
If you think your game's worth money, I can charge money for it. If it is, I'll pay it. Guarantee. Yeah. I just spent 25 quid on the Forgotten City on a whim, and turns out it's one of my favorite games of the year. That's it. We had a lot more stories to talk about, but we kind of talked a lot about the ones that we did talk about. So we're going to leave that the way it is and get out of here because we've just hit the 2-hour mark. Moody, do you have any final thoughts for the podcast?
Developers are more important than CEOs.
Well said. Say bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.